brought to you by Flagstaff, building better RVs, making smarter RVers.
And hello again, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, and this is the RV Show USA. As I said, Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Welcome to the program that tells you the good, the sometimes not so good, and the occasional downright ugly parts of RVing. And for a little bit of today's show, we're going to talk about some of the not so good parts. If you caught last week's program, you know that it was a best of show. Another way of saying it was a rerun on account of the worst cold front to land on and stay on top of Texas in recorded history. So you might be saying, yeah, but it'll probably never get that cold again, at least not this winter. So what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that I'd venture to say that at least half, probably way more than half of the RVs in the South, those that were not winterized, have got some real issues that are going to make themselves known over the next month or two. The reason? Water damage. In some cases, what looks like minor water damage, and in some cases, no water damage, may even be worse than the obvious flood. Have you ever had a very slow tire leak? You know, a really slow one where every 4 or 5 days you got to go in and put another squirt of air in it. Those tiny pinhole leaks in tires are some of the most difficult to find. Any leak inside of an RV is a bad one. Any leak, but a slow leak, a slow drip of a leak that goes unnoticed and ignored can turn into a massive insurance claim and a repair job, if I'm trying to find the word, that could take months to fix. And if that happens, your RV may never be the same again. And what makes it even worse is that your insurance may not cover the damage. Now, from the obvious places like under the sink or a drain to the less obvious, even invisible places, unless you go looking for them, a water leak can be one of the most damaging things that can happen to your RV. If you have your RV and it was not winterized, I suggest that you fear the worst. You assume that you do have a leak or two or more, and that you do a thorough inspection of everything you can see and everything you can't see very easily, and fix it before you go on that first springtime camping trip. If you don't have the time to do a complete inspection for leaks, you may very well pay for ignoring this warning. If you do have a water leak and don't tend to it pronto, you will not only suffer an expensive bill and lengthy repair times, but when you sell your RV, you could very likely take it in the shorts. That brings me to everybody who's going to buy a used RV. You recall back in 2008 when Katrina hit, or 2012 when Sandy pummeled the East Coast? I remember after those big storms, there were some great deals on new cars and trucks. What those buyers of those great deals found out over the next several months was that thousands of those vehicles had been flooded by the storms. They had serious issues. They just hadn't had time to manifest themselves. But they did. If you'll be buying a used RV in the next several months, whether it's from an individual or through a dealer, be wary of water damage. You may see it, you may not see it. Unless you're confident of your abilities to do a complete inspection, I suggest you hire an independent inspector to pay the money and get to the bottom of the situation. Find out for sure if the RV has any issues or not. Now, I don't want to be a nag, and I'm not trying to scare you, but this will become a really big nightmare for a lot of people over the coming months. The sooner you can get your RV fixed, if you got any leaks, the better. If you're a buyer, the more you know about the true condition of the RV that you are looking at, the happier camper you are going to be. I told you we'd start out with some of the not so good parts of RVing. In our next segment, the not so good conversation is going to continue. Yes, it is, with our correspondents, Izzy and MJ from Endless RVing. They're going to talk candidly about some of the pitfalls of RV ownership. By the way, this show is not a production of the Go RVing campaign. No, it is not. And we really do want as many people as possible to realize the joy, the fun of RVing. We just don't want you to go thinking that it's all ice cream and ponies. Now, later in the hour, Mark and Julie Bennett from RV Love have interviewed several full-time RVing couples about what they wish they would have known before they decided to go full-time. And of course, Tony and Peggy Barthel round out the hour with Stressless Camping. They've got some thoughts on campground etiquette. And I think a refresher course on campground manners, good campground manners, is a pretty good idea.